I want to talk about how setting objectives and feedback are connected and why they're important. And if all I talk about with you is setting objectives and feedback, I'm going to feel good about our time together. And you can see in the graphic, they're absolutely connected. I'm going to come back to this slide now. You saw this slide before. That was the metaphor of learning from pre-kindergarten through college. And I said, for setting objectives, we need to let students know here's where we're going, this group of trees. Feedback tells learners how well they're doing relative to that learning goal so they can get better. And so the important thing in feedback, if I'm going down the road, when I was in London, I had to go down this side of the road, and it was very confusing.
You don't want any pedagogical accidents.
I did not rent a car purposely in London. Going down the road, though, and if I see my learners start to move off onto the edge of the road, my feedback puts them back on the road. Mm-hmm. If they start to make this turn down this little dirt road, I need to give them feedback to get them back on the road towards the learning objective. So in a visual, that's really what feedback's about. It's about giving students information on what they did. I'll go to this next slide. What they did that was correct, what needs improvement, and most importantly, what specific thing do they need to do next? That's a part that's very often missing. So I'm going to jump to a slide here, and I'm going to show you a math paper. I talked about double-digit multiplication a bit ago. This is Kent's paper. Kent is trying to do 2 digits multiplied by 2 digits. You can see the key over here, the example, so you can see what they're doing. You can see that the student is supposed to put a 0 in this column as a space holder, and then line up and do the multiplication. You can also see that the feedback that Kent received on this paper basically shouldn't be taking math classes anymore. So that's a bit of a problem. If I come back to this slide and say what was right, what needs improvement, and what specifically do you need to do next, I'm going to ask you as a team now to look at Kent's paper. And what feedback would you give Kent on this paper? I think you can see it okay.
Yes, we can see it.
Okay. Let me actually just take this off so you can see the whole paper. Just a second here. There we go.
I'll let you three maybe work on this together. So do you guys want to have a quick chat? Yeah. Howard will have a quick chat. So I'll let those guys have a quick chat, and then they'll give you some feedback. Well, give Kent some feedback.
Here's an example of the feedback I might give Kent.
Mm-hmm.
So, Kent, it looks like you did a good job here. You lined up your columns correctly. Mm-hmm. You did your multiplication well, and then you did your addition well. Those are the steps we've talked about. Over here on E, you did your multiplication exactly right. 4 times 52 is 208. You forgot the 0 here, and then your columns weren't lined up very well, and your addition turned out to be the wrong answer. So you did almost everything right. Now here's what I want you to do next. I want you to go back and redo these problems, making sure you've got that 0 there, and then you line up your columns and you do your addition. Just do that and give me the paper back and I'll look at it again. This is something manageable for Kent. He can do that. If he really does have his multiplication under control, you're going to know that because these are going to come back mostly correct. If they come back aligned correctly and the multiplication is off, then you know what to address next. If the multiplication is correct and the addition is wrong, then you know what to address next. When I do this in groups, especially with experienced math teachers in the room, they are really good about giving him the 15 or 20 things he did wrong. They will point out everything in the world that this child did wrong on this paper, and that's how they are used to giving feedback to kids. And I just tell them, you're overwhelming. You can't do that. So focus on right, wrong, next, and just keep the focus going. Now, what this also means is that I'm telling Kent, take this back, redo it, and give it back to me to look at again. Now, we had just talked about how the factory model in Germany keeps moving forward. We still have to give him time to stop and redo this work. What we talk about in classroom instruction that works is you need to give students this feedback, and this is the part that teachers really push back on, and allow them to redo it until correct. My goal here is not to see how dumb Kent is. It's to let him get to the place where he can demonstrate he can do this. Until he can do this, because I think it's pretty predictable what the next assignment is going to look like. It's going to be 3 digits on the top and 2 digits on the bottom. If he can't do 2 by 2, he can't do 3 by 2. Chances are pretty good he also got an F on the previous assignment, which was 2 at the top and 1 on the bottom. You have to stop the cycle of failure by allowing him to do it well.